Imagine a world without sound, no birdsong to greet the dawn, no rustle of leaves in a gentle breeze, no human voice to break the quiet. This was our Earth, 1 billion years ago. It was a planet of profound silence, a world governed not by life as we know it but by the raw, untamed forces of geology, and by weather. The air itself was different, thin and strange, carrying scents of sulfur and rock. The sun, slightly dimmer than today, cast a softer, more ancient light upon a landscape that was both utterly alien and yet, fundamentally, our home. This was a planet waiting, breathing slowly over millennia, its story just beginning to be written in stone and water. The silence of this ancient world was often broken by a terrible, deafening roar. This was the voice of the planet's inner fire. Volcanoes, far more numerous and active than today, were a dominant feature of the landscape. They were the architects of this early Earth, constantly reshaping the surface of the supercontinent Rodinia. Great fissures would tear open in the crust, spewing fountains of incandescent lava that flowed for hundreds of miles. These were not the conical mountains we picture today, but vast volcanic plains, building up layer upon layer of black basalt rock, creating immense, dark plateaus that covered thousands of square miles. A sea of liquid stone glowing with primordial heat. These eruptions had a profound effect on the atmosphere. They filled the sky not with the familiar blues and whites of our time, but with a perpetual fiery haze, billions of tons of ash. 1 billion years ago, the world's landmass was not scattered. All the continents we know were fused together into one colossal supercontinent. Geologists call it Rodinia, the motherland from which later continents would arise. It was a lonely giant, dominating one hemisphere while a single vast ocean, Morovia, covered the other. It created weather patterns unlike anything we see now. The interior of Rodinia was an immense desert, rock sand dust, broken only by jagged young mountain ranges. Coastlines were battered by waves from the global ocean. Just a few hundred miles inland, the climate became brutally arid. Days were scorching hot, nights were freezing cold. Fierce, dust-laden winds scoured the landscape relentlessly. While the land was a single static giant, the ocean was a world of constant motion. The Morovia Ocean, which we call the global ocean, was a single, continuous body of water that dwarfed even our modern Pacific. Its chemistry was, well, alien. It was more acidic and much saltier than today's seas, and it was filled with dissolved minerals, especially iron, washed from the barren lands. This high concentration of iron gave the water a pale, greenish hue, not the vibrant blue we are accustomed to. The ocean was a vast chemical soup, holding the raw ingredients for life but not yet teeming with it. The tides in this era would have been immense. The moon was closer to Earth than it is today, exerting a much stronger gravitational pull. Twice a day, colossal tidal bulges would have swept across the Morovia. In the shallow, sunlit waters along the coast of Rodinia, a revolution was quietly taking place. This was not a world of animals or plants but of microbes. For over 2 billion years, simple, single-celled life had existed. But now something new was emerging. The most advanced life forms were microbial mats, slimy, layered communities of bacteria that carpeted the seafloor in tidal zones. These communities, known as stromatolites, were Earth's first living cities. They were pioneers, clinging to existence in a harsh world, and they were slowly, patiently, changing the planet forever. Among these microbes were cyanobacteria, the true heroes of this ancient story. They had perfected a remarkable trick: photosynthesis. The world, 1 billion years ago, was not static. It was in the midst of a profound and slow-moving transformation. The patient work of the cyanobacteria was having a dramatic effect on the entire planet. As oxygen levels rose in the atmosphere, the sky itself started to change. The thick, reddish volcanic haze began to thin. Methane, a potent greenhouse gas that had helped keep early Earth warm, was broken down by the new oxygen. Over millions of years, the sky slowly began to clear, revealing a paler, more familiar blue. The planet was, quite literally, taking its first breath of fresh air. This atmospheric change triggered a dramatic shift in climate. With less methane and less carbon dioxide trapping heat, the planet began to cool. This cooling was gradual but relentless, a slow, inexorable march toward a global ice age. Looking at our green and blue world today, it is almost impossible to imagine the fiery, silent planet of 1 billion years ago. Yet the echoes of that deep past are all around us, hidden within the very fabric of our world. The rocks beneath our feet hold the story of Rodinia's formation and breakup. The ancient cores of our modern continents, the geological shields of Canada, Australia, and Siberia, are the battered and eroded remnants of the mountains that were once thrust up when the supercontinent came together. These rocks are a library of deep time, telling a story of unimaginable pressures and collisions. The air we breathe is a direct legacy of those humble cyanobacteria. Every breath we take is filled with the oxygen they first pumped into the atmosphere as a waste product. Their planetary engineering project, which took over 1 billion years, created the conditions necessary for our own existence. The iron ore in our cars and buildings is the rusted iron that rained down through the ancient Moravia Ocean. We live our lives surrounded by the consequences of events that unfolded when the most complex life on Earth was a slimy film of microbes. Our technological civilization is built upon the foundations laid in this deep, alien past. It teaches us that our world is older, stranger, and more magnificent than we can ever fully comprehend, and that the echoes of its silent, fiery dawn still resonate today.